So I've been actually, today will be, what is it, day 8? Sure, day 8. So I have done some refactoring. I've been working on it the last couple of days. Did I stream yesterday? I don't think I did stream at all yesterday. Uh, been doing some layout changes. I refactored my time calculations. I'm no longer trying to pass minutes and seconds. I just do seconds. Everything seconds. Only for output am I reformatting it back to minutes and seconds. Also, kind of cleaning up some of my logic on the offensive plays, just the way I do the randomizations, and also trying to clean up how those things are set up so it's a little cleaner, a little easier to manage. Also added a few more commentator calculations, commentator scenarios, such as how safeties occur, or when a safety occurs, or touchdowns, or also I noticed a lot of my commentator comments were all positive. I wasn't adjusting for negative in a lot of cases, so I needed to change the commentator comments for the negatives. Like I'd have a deep pass for negative 10 yards or negative 15 yards. So that was kind of weird. So I had to change my, add some adjustments to consider the positive and negative of plays. Now I've put it in for my low and my high results. I don't know that and even my medium results have some testing. These single line ones here, probably not as good as they should be, and they probably aren't going to consider something. Like that one doesn't consider the possibility of a safety. So if you go negative, this isn't going to calculate for negative. Now I do have a situation, I think, where if the play result is equal to or whatever the touchdown, then we have a touchdown. But I don't have it considering the possibility of a safety. Now I can do some plus minus calculations, or I can just put this in here. So, and since really that's the one I need to fix the most, right? Because it's most common to get the smaller numbers than it is the bigger numbers. And as such, I should probably adjust this to kind of clean that up. Also, I'll have a positive and negative output here as well. We'll just go if play result greater than, and primarily I can continue to do it with the what do you call it, the single line, but it gets kind of convoluted when you do it that way. It gets weird to manage, and I've decided I don't want to do it that way. Just having two comments that one's positive, one's negative is just easier to deal with. Plus, it allows me a little bit more leeway on what I'm saying in those scenarios. So I deal with the run. So we go. Let's see if it's negative. I can just say, I don't have to worry about like checking for if it's negative here, so I can take that off. We just hand off for a handoff. Run is hit behind line of scrimmage for a loss of. And then I can go all the way down here. Blank yards. Okay. Same thing if it's a pass. I am dealing with them both in bulk. So we have screen pass. To, we'll say running back, even though it could be a receiver, but screen pass to running back results in loss of blank yards. And obviously we can't get a touchdown. However, we can play result if, what do I have here? Play result. If yards to go is greater than 99. Hopefully I've calculated yards to go at this point. I should have updated yards to go, but we'll see. I think I have. Yards to go. Oh, so this one I could just close off. It's no longer a conditional. Now we're just adding the big play at the end, or the play call at the end, which is whether or not they're in the end zone. We'll go down here, and we'll close that one off too. So if it's that, otherwise it's a safety. Stop it. And we'll go here. Okay, so now we have the potential of a safety and or a, we can't really have, yeah, so, oh, whoops, I put these backwards, dang it. That's can't go, that's a positive result. This is a negative result. And I don't actually have a, I'm gonna whack my, play call, run a handoff for a short gain of don't need negative. I'm gonna go here, dump all that. Blank yards. Quick pass for blank yards, and then we do the test. Okay, so that's it. We got all the way down there, and yes. Okay. Now I should have I have a safety calculator. Now, as long as I've calculated yards to go, as long as yards to go has been updated, we should be fine. I'm testing yards to go, so I must have it. Right? So I'm looking around. I don't see the updated yards to go. I see the yards I've got. So unless I update yards to go, oh yeah, that's not going to work because I am using yards to go here. So what I need to do is change my safety calculations. They can't be so if it's yards, oh gosh, dang it. See, I don't like these long lines because they're really a pain to deal with. Okay, so it's yards to go. Plus play results. The only way I can do this is greater than 99. If it's negative, it will be a plus. I have to plus it to subtract it. So that means all of my safety calculations have to be this. Oops, dang it. Okay, so now my safeties can be calculated and set up for getting a better comment, essentially. Okay, so now that result is, oh, strangely enough, that's a medium. Dang it. That's a medium call. Because this is a medium, this is a high, this is like bomb, touchdown, giant, big play kind of thing. So I'm actually wrong. I still have to, I should probably just take this one and put it as my commentator comment down here. If not a score or turnover, add 30 seconds of time. See, this is what I should be doing at the end of the entire process, not just there. I am doing it at the end of both. And the only reason I'm not doing it at the end of the entitle thing is because incompletion has its own timestamp. So, because it stops the clock, so I'm not adding 30 seconds for that one. So I do these where they actually have plays, because incompletion is determined kind of before we even get yards. So it's just whatever. Now, interception, interestingly enough, I should probably... No, incompletion does have... Ooh, man, I don't even know what I'm going to do with that. I do have interception on here. Oh, I think I have it calculated down here. Yeah, fumble lost or interception. This one actually takes the yards that we got. But an interception allows for all these yards to happen. So yeah, all these things can happen because there's no interception here. It's just incompletion, 2-point play, or these. Interception goes through all of the calculations for yards. And then we have the overwrite of my comment down here. So okay, so what I'm going to do is take this guy and mathman play result and yards to go. Don't think I need this anymore. I've kind of got I kind of restructured my logic, so I shouldn't have to get a result that's too big. And I don't think I can get too big of a play on a low call anyway. I have this in on everything, but it's like these low calls don't go above 10 yards. They're like 7 or 8 yards. So you can't go too far in either direction. So that would end up in an end zone or not. Now, the only reason I do play result yards to go is min in this case. Wait, so yards to go. Well, the reason I was doing it is just like statistical reasons, because the play result shouldn't ever be statistically more than the distance. So if you run 6 yards at a 1 yard line, you don't get credit for 6 yard run. You get credit for 1 yard. Same goes with a pass. You pass for 6 yards, you still only got a 1 yard gain. It's just what you got into the end zone. So that's why yards to go theoretically should just be the yards you gained. So I usually go the minimum of the 2, and I guess that's a good logic. Ultimately, if I haven't changed yards to go, I should probably just do that at the end. Have my yards to go be the minimum play result in yards to go. I think the reasoning is because new yards to go should be like, that says yards to go minus play result. Oh, that's going to be weird too, huh? Because if I'm taking the minimum of yards to go and play result, it's going to be, okay, so no, I guess that's right, because if the play result is 0 and yards to go is 1, though, we're not subtracting from it, and we end up getting yards to go minus play result is going to be, that's not going to work. Because it's got to be, if the yards to go is the minimum of yards to go, if yards to go is 1 and play result is 2, okay, no, never mind. Play result would be 1, and then we'd still have yards to go minus. So play result is 7 and yards to go is 1, play result becomes 1, and then we just end up yards to go minus 1. Okay, so that's fine. But I should probably do that for all the plays then, because I don't ever really want to have I don't really ever want to have a score that is a yards to go that's, or a play result that's bigger than the number of yards you had to go. That's how that shouldn't be. Okay, so yeah, we'll do this. And we're going to put these comments in as my small comments because that's what I wrote them as. These are supposed to be my medium plays. I think the only reason I'm doing these play this thing is to make sure that we don't give them more yards than they did. I know that sometimes, like record books will often show, like if somebody ran a 100-yard run to the end zone, they don't give them extra points, extra yards for going into the end zone, but they do give them extra yards for where they started. So it's like if they were 5 yards deep into the end zone, that'll be a 105-yard touchdown run. But I think that's only for the record books. I don't think statistically you can get more than 100 yards. But for like the records, if you start off 9 yards deep, that would be 109 yards. And it's guesstimating because there's no actual line markers in the end zone. So somebody would have to do like a math test. Well, where are they at? And then measure it out. And it'd be a visual test because there's nobody officially taking the number of yards you are in the end zone. So I think that's probably why you wouldn't do that. So there you go. I guess we could do this after each of these. In this case, it can only be as high as yards to go. It can never go higher, so you can't ever actually be too far over the end zone. Yeah, so the goal there is to make sure that we don't actually get numbers that are too big. And that's the only scenario where you'd have that. And since yards to go, in all situations, your play result should be the number you want. Unless it's bigger than the yards to go. You just never want yards to go to be the bigger number. And okay, so that's good. Okay, so I don't need to do it here because I already have maxed out yards to go. But here I am doing the min to prevent the yards to go from getting too big. No out of the end zone plays. That's what both of these are saying. Execution time. Let's just be consistent with my placement, just so that I can track these better. It's just clean code, right? Doing the same thing, the same order allows things easier to be followed. If I'm doing it twice, let's at least keep it consistent. So we got the play result, play execution. It's the last thing before we do comments. And same thing here, just for cleanliness. Well, we got this one doesn't do, it is doing play execution time. It's just doing, if not a score or turnover, add 30 seconds to time for decision between snap. How come my play execution here is different? Time bottom less, time top less. Oh, am I doing, oh, I'm doing play execution time up here too. So we got our play result there, which is, oh, I'm already doing the math min there. I don't need to do it twice. Why am I doing it in both places? Okay, we got commentator. Let's be consistent with my positioning on these. Ah, what did I just do? Okay, so yeah, we'll put this right before comments. Interesting enough, I should probably put these before comments in all places. Oops, what did I do? Dang it. That's all I wanted was this. Why did I get the other stuff? I want commentator to show up after what I line for the play, just because it just seems like this is what we called. This is what the result was. Still can't get it. One of these days I'm gonna figure out I'm gonna figure out this keyboard. someday, some way, I'm gonna figure this keyboard out, man. All right, so yeah, commentator second, commentator second, commentator second. Okay. Then, and the only place I'm adding 30 seconds is here, but oddly enough, I don't want that to be the only place. I don't know why I'm only doing it there, unless I am adding it somewhere else that I don't see. Oh, okay, so I am doing it at the end of all of that, and okay, so I am doing it at the end of each, and this one, and this will exclude incompletion. Okay, so I am doing it here and there. Okay, so we're good. We're gonna set the execution times. Should be good. Now the only thing is I'm setting commentator comments, even though there's a chance they get overwritten when we get down to the fumble, lost, and interception. They're gonna take that value and totally throw it out the window if in fact we had a fumble or interception. So that's fine, whatever. That'll work. I do add an extra 3 seconds of the play execution time here because I figure there's a little bit more time involved in the fumble moving around or the run back. So hopefully we've got all that calculated. Hopefully I've got it all better now. So we've got comments for both positive and negative. We've got safeties, touchdowns, everything now accounted for. Let's go ahead and hit save on that. Hopefully we're compiling still. We'll know in a minute if I haven't screwed something up. I did change my nomenclatures, my naming, what do you call it? What do you call it? Naming rules. Just because I want it to be a little bit more succinct, I took out the word play, just minor stuff, cleaned it up so it's a little bit more readable. I did allow for a wider range for passes than for runs. It's only a yard, but still a little bit of something. Also, this will allow me to tweak. The way I set it up now is I can just tweak these values to adjust. Like I'm thinking if I want to allow for more frequent, bigger plays on runs or passes, I could reduce these numbers to increase the odds of getting it. Like if we're getting too many negatives, then maybe I drop the low to a 3, and that'll change where the other values land, just putting us more in there. If I'm getting too many short numbers, I'm not getting enough higher values, I can decrease the first level of these numbers, and that will increase the chance of the bigger numbers coming up because we'll move into the next probability range. And that goes for all of them. If I want to just get some big plays every now and then more frequently, I could squish those numbers even further. But now I've also removed the chance of the middle range. So that's going to increase, because before I had it set up, you go in there and now you had a range from low to high. It's different now. Now the ranges are from the play result previously determined that gets you into that range to the high. So we can no longer get those middle zone numbers. And that's going to increase our high numbers just on that fact alone. So we're not doubling up the chance of getting those other numbers. We get the first numbers, there's a low chance because it has to be a high end number to go in and get the higher numbers. That reduces the chance of like a lot of 20s coming up, or high end numbers. We're not going to have those be 50-50. We're going to have those be like 1 in 10. But 1 in 10 is now higher. Not 1 in 10 is a possibility of being the same range or higher. So this is going to increase my scores. I'm sure of it. Just the way I set it up is going to increase the frequency of scores, more big plays. It may even result in my needing to tweak the values in the opposite direction. We'll see. Again, I'm just trying to get realistic scores. I don't want to get crazy scores. I'm not going for absolute precision here. I just don't want them to be dumb. I've played a couple of online football games. What do you call it? The free-to-play games. Front page head coach. GOAT football, greatest of all time, which is almost the same thing, just a little bit different tweaks. Playmakers, which is also dumb for different reasons. I liked it at first. I really did. I was playing it a lot. And then I was like, this is really getting repetitive. It doesn't do much. But with like football head coach, when it does a simulation, once the numbers start getting out of whack, you start having like 70 to 10, 60 to 20. I mean, you're winning by 30, 40 points all the time, just every time. And I'm like, this is not football, right? That's not how it goes. And unless you're playing high school against professional or high school against college or whatever, you're just not going to have those kind of scores all the time. And therefore it needs to be tweaked. So I'm adjusting that. That is my goal, to make this a little less, I want it to be pretty decent while I'm working on the next layer of all these things, because I do have objectives to add a lot more complexity on how those simulations are done. Still want those same kind of results. Still want to kind of tweak the numbers, adjust, get real player stuff in there, but I don't want to. I don't want to have it, broken by my other logic. So here we go. If I can get realistic numbers, what I'm thinking is one of my unit tests, which I got to start implementing unit testing here, especially as I start going into the more complex stuff later. I may even have unit tests that aren't testing for necessarily bugs, but maybe I'll have a test for probabilities. Like one of my tests will say, run this 50 times. That's the test. Run it 50 times. How often are we getting this value? If it's outside of this range, fail. If we're getting this more than 20% of the time or more than 30% of the time, we want to tweak the frequency of which we fall outside of those ranges. Maybe I give it a little room. Like say 30% is okay, but we're going to allow for 32 or 33. We want it to be 30, but we know if we're hitting 32, 33, we're frequently under 30%, right? Because it's a probability zone. If we're going over it and we're getting the right scores, because ultimately that's the goal, right? Get the right scores. But we have to have particular types of ranges that matter. Like if our running yards are getting to be too big too often, we can tweak those. Anything we do that shrinks results will shrink scores. Anything we do that increases results will increase scores. So in this case, like we would change the range or of the runs or the passes to increase or lower the scores. And that's going to be the same thing with the individual results. Like if I'm running a play that's just constantly getting 15 yards, it's not realistic. I mean, you can't get the same number of yards every time you call a play. If you run it 10 times, it most frequently should not get these kind of yards. Now, it could change based on which players you have statistically in there. If you have a crappy player going up a really good player, yeah, you might get some big yards frequently. It's like, again, running a professional against a college player. Hopefully it's never that big, but it kind of is in some places in the NFL, right? I mean, college players just come out of college, they're rookies. Frequently, those rookies aren't as good as the all-star quarterback or the all-star receiver they're up against, because that guy's been doing this for a while, and he is top of the line. He's the man. He's probably going to whoop on that rookie a little bit. Maybe. Depends on the rookie. I mean, some rookies come in and they're amazing, but we just got to have that. All right, so let's go ahead. We've updated this. Hopefully we're compiling. We will check. I've updated my times. I did notice, like, one of the problems I was getting, like during my outputs here, during my offline programming, my scores started turning all weird on me. So we started getting down in here, and we started having, we were doing pretty good, I think, up to a point where it suddenly started going, it went bad. Where is it? I have a lot of scores here. So, quick pass, second. Or something wasn't decreasing my drive time. Let's see what. Total drive time. At some point we must. So these are all my plays. Quick pass, 3. All right, where do things go wonky? Because something does go wonky down. Oh, here we go. We're wonky. See how we have these drive plays? Drive length 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. We should see. It's right about here that things went weird. So we have time remaining. I don't know where this is in the game, but we don't want that. That's not too good. Not too good at all. Drive starting field position. Their own -1 yard line. Okay, that's mathematically broken as well. We should never have their own -1 yard line. So that's where things kind of go wrong. Yards to go 101. So it could be related to the fact that I wasn't calculating safeties in there correctly. That's going to be a tough one to repeat, to be honest, because I don't think that happens very often. Because we have a punt right up here that went for play description. Return team takes the ball after a punt of 60 yards and returns it -3 yards. Oh, I didn't even think that was. I don't have a special team considerations for a safety. That's not a thing I considered at all. Special team considerations for a safety. How far did he punt that ball? A 60-yard punt, and returns it -3 yards. So now he has the yards to go of 101. Huh. Yeah, I did. That is not something I at all planned for. I think ultimately, my unit test will have to do something like try every number in the range. Every number in the range against up to 100 yards. So, I mean, it shouldn't take that long, right? Because 100 yards is the maximum you can do. Or 99 yards is the max you can ever do. And just start throwing numbers in for all these different things that range all the way up to whatever. What can you get? And test out all of the permutations to make sure we don't get stuff like -3 yards. It's like, okay, yeah, you could use yards on a return. I just never really, darn it. right, so that's an issue. Let's go look at my special teams plays. I don't even I didn't do any remodeling or restructuring on my special teams plays because I didn't really think you could get safety on. So normally, what a player would do, I say normally because they have made that very mistake where they grab the ball, try to run, they end up going backwards, ended up in the end zone. It has happened where they try to make a move and go safety. Now, typically, they'll run backwards. They might catch it and their momentum carries it back, and then they can call it a touchback. That's allowed. It's just if you do anything that moves, like you catch it, take 2 steps forward, and then decide to run back into the end zone, that's going to be a safety, or you get chased into the end zone. So that's a scenario that's supposed to be pretty hard to accomplish. Apparently the game managed to accomplish it and it broke. We can't have that. So, and that was a punt. I've got to try to adjust that. I also have some weird text in here because that was a weird reading. Return team takes the ball after a punt of 60 yards. Well, I guess it's not that bad. Kick is deep into the end zone. Touchback. Ball will be placed. Ball will be placed. I should take that, turn it into a D. Returner takes the ball after a blank yard kick. Ball is returned blank yards, only to be fumbled and given back to the team. Return team, How about not return team? How about punt returner? Punt returner. Returner takes the ball after a punt of blank yards and gets stupid with the ball. I don't have get stupid with the ball anywhere. Actually, I don't even know. Returns at blank yards. And I obviously have a negative option on here. What is the most negative I can even have? My range. Where's my range? So it's return yardage. Oh, I just used -4 as the number. Yards to go minus punt distance. So it's 60. So he must have had quite a ways to go. What is mathed out random? Mathed out random is weird to me because it acts weird, and I'm just trying to say I want it to be between 1 and 2. Why is mathed out random 2? Is it always between 1 and 2? I don't know. Math.random. All right, let's see. There's an easy way to random number using random for x equals random string. How to render random number? Floor. They always do max and min for range. What if... max minus min. I only get a blank page. What is wrong? It does seem that I am close to the answer. I've tried everything. There's no action binding the button, even with the line. Share, improve. Array. There's an easy way to create a random number using random string. Random string? What is random string? That seems weird. Okay, so remove all your logic from the render function, add it to the click handler. Okay, so this guy's got a different problem, and it's not what I want. How about, I think it keeps changing. Either I keep spelling match or it keeps changing my number. Okay, so I've always got match. I'm always doing match dot random, and it's like, why? Am I spelling match? Because I'm trying to spell math. So either my fingers are just spelling whatever they feel like. Trust me, my fingers have a mind of their own when I type. They will write out words that just look similar, but they're not really listening to what I'm saying, so they don't understand, variances. I have to look back and go, that's not right. Why did you write that? Darn hands. Doing your own thing. Gosh dang it. Sometimes I have a, what do you call it, ad blocker on my browser. Sorry, I'm doing two things at once. I have an ad blocker on my browser that apparently I need to disable fairly frequently because everybody's a jerk and they must force you to see their ads. To generate random numbers. What does it return? I guess that's what I'm really trying to see. Returns a random the math random method in JavaScript returns a random number between 0 and 1. Okay. So multiplying it by 2. So if I don't want decimals on my thing, I have to chop it off. Function in JavaScript is utilized to round off given input number to the nearest smaller integer in a downward direction. In other words, it truncates decimals. Okay, so math.floor, math.random will generally return 0, right? Because it's between 0 and 1. It's either going to be 1 or 0, which is kind of goofy. Well, that's what you want, but it's going to be every number up to 1. So you're not going to get 1 very often. It's generally 0. Create a React application by using the command. After creating your project, geez, what, this is an entire test to write out, update. Holy guacamole. All this just to write a test for React. Holy moly. So if you want it to be times, you want to multiply the value times 2, you're still going to only between 1 and 2. Which is still really weird. So if I add 1, that's going to be between 1 and 2, but 2 is going to be a really high number. So it's almost like you want it to be between, if you're trying to do a 50-50 randomization, you want to add 2 to the number, not times 2, but just add 2 to the number, because that'll get you a random number plus 2. No, you'll be over 2. So if you add 1 to the number, you'll be over 1, but you want it to go higher. You want a higher number. It's like, that's such a weird thing. That's why they do that weird max, was it max minus min plus min craziness? That's why they do that. Oh, now I know. So this is a function I'm using. I think I may already have it over here. It's get random number. Oh, get random integer, which is this one. But I think I have it on here already. And I changed it to this because I know I could probably put these in some common folder somewhere. I probably should. Because I don't want to have to put min first. And there's a reason for that. I was doing some of my other ranges, and I want to start with the new range, but the number could go backwards or forwards depending on what that number is, and I want to just use the same method. So it's either going to be min and max. So it'll alter them to min or max. I don't want to have to swap it out and make two versions of the a range, one for when I go negative and one for when I go positive. Because if it's negative, it can get more negative. If it's positive, it can get more positive. So your base number has to be in the alternate position if you're doing, always the lowest first. So I decided I'm going to make it do its own calculations, and I can put any two numbers in, and therefore I can put the range in exactly the same for both, and it'll figure out which one goes on top. Okay, so I need to go back in here, and now I'm going to change this to, instead of this, we will just call my number here, because apparently the way I'm doing it is actually not that great. So we're going to go here. And we'll go 1, 2. There we go. This is just checking for the possibility of a fair catch. It's a simple randomly 1 or 2. I'm flipping a coin. Is there a better way to do a flip a coin? Probably, but this is what I'm going with. Because I don't know what that better way is. So we're going to go with this. Okay, so we're going to flip a coin. And we're going to decide if we're... And do I fair catch... I can do this for punts or kicks. I should probably just stick it out anywhere. Because if I don't care about a fair catch... this could be for anything. So we're just going to put this up here. Will be used for both punts and kicks. But with can you fair catch a kickoff? Or do you have... No, I think you can fair catch a kickoff. I don't know why I was thinking you might have to return it. Yeah, I think you can fair catch it. I'm taking it. I'm saying yes. I hope you can. Seems like you can. All right, so for a kickoff, touchback, landing zone, kickoff distance, return yardage. How come I don't have a fair catch in here? Did I not consider the possibility of a fair catch? Let's see. Can a returner fair catch kickoff? During the NFL spring, decided to add an addendum to kickoffs, allowing for players to fair catch the ball and place it on the 25-yard line. Oh. So you can fair catch any kick? The NFL alternate team grows more than kickoffs with bands blocking. With bands to blocking, running starts, fair catch rules, and over the years now we could one step closer to the extinction of the kickoff as a whole. During the NFL spring meeting, fair catch the ball. allowing for players to fair catch the ball and place on 25-yard line, a massive advantage for the receiving teams. It's the latest in a string of changes made to kickoffs, and it might signal the beginning of the end of the play. The league is looking to make strides at this year's. Already, NFL made a pretty big change to the way team roster QBs with new emergency quarterback rule. NFL owners approved a new proposal that placed the ball on the 25-yard line on kickoffs and kicks following a safety if a player calls for a fair catch behind the 25-yard line. It's important to note that the rule is officially changed only for 2023, as it says so 2 separate times in the rule proposal. That means it's likely something of an experimental role to see how the league responds. So is that still a thing? I don't know if that's still a thing then. It's not 2023 anymore. Fair catch on a kickoff explained. So now it's like, okay, now it's October 2024. The college football calling. Oh, this is college football, right? Every time the ball is kicked off, returns have 3 options. Run it, take it. In college football, calling for a fair catch ball may start the drive on the 25-yard line. The returner must catch the football inside the 25-yard line. That's college football, but it doesn't say it's professional football anymore. Fair catch is outside. Man, why do teams... So in college football, they go to the 25-yard line. Okay, in May 24, 2023, we're in 2024. I know you're not even seeing what I'm looking at. Let's move this over here, see, so I can show what I'm debating here. So what happened? Did they close today or something?
No one told me, yeah, the power was still on. I went there and there's one dude there, he's like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out if we're going to get power today. And, because he's like the guy, I don't know, he does a lot of like maintenance stuff there.
Oh, okay. So are they going to call you if they need you, or are they just going to?
So, I mean, we might be on later if power comes on, but see.
Bummer. What was the traffic like out there?
It was not bad.
No? People weren't too crazy, or probably mostly just staying home because they were off for one reason or the other?
Yeah, no, it was not bad.
A lot of power outages around here. Last night we had a big windstorm, not tornado level or anything, but we got tree branches falling on everything. So I got to go out back a little bit later and clean up some branches that are on the fence and just inconveniently lying in places that need to be dealt with, and just make things a little less wonky in our house. I decided not to go DoorDash today because of terrible weather and the like, and I didn't want to be driving out there and weird lights and dealing with all that nonsense. And I wanted to work on this. I want to get this done. I mean, get it progressed to a point where it's beauteous, and then I can go do my lower level programming. I got to still create a database, move stuff to an API. So those are going to be parts probably less exciting as actually having output. But as I make those conversions, I'm going to try to keep running my output once I have it. And then I'm going to start gluing pieces in. I would like to even maybe compile it and deploy it to a location where I can just run it just for fun while I'm doing this stuff and start working on the iteration of it. I could do something like maybe put in some kind of a loop that lets me run it 50 times. Run 50 games, all at slow pace, so that they just kind of chunk through, and then it just runs on my website while I do other stuff. We'll see. I don't know what's the end goal there, but I do kind of want it to exist while I'm working on it. So we shall find out where I'm at. Anyway, I don't know what the 2024. This one says 2024. Let's see. Why the change? Let's see. Oh gosh, dang nabbit McSnoodlies. All right. I changed. Kickoff rules have been adjusted several times before. What are the new rules? Standard kicks will continue to start at 35, but the rest of the setup looks pretty different, involving an area called the landing zone. Here's what the kickoff looks like. The returning team can have a maximum of 2 returners anywhere in the landing zone, while at least 9 players line up between the 30 and 35 or the setup zone. Bringing teams closer to start restricting their movement. Here are the key changes to touchbacks and returns. If the ball reaches the end zone in the air, the receiving team can return it or opt for a touchback and possession at the 30. If the ball hits the landing zone and then goes into the end zone, the receiving team can return it or opt for a touchback and possession at the 20. Interesting. See, these are just totally, well, I'm actually saying that they're going to get the ball. If it lands in the landing zone, that's where the ball is. I'm actually only playing any kick that hits the landing zone but doesn't go into the end zone must be returned. Any kick out of bounds or short of the landing zone places the ball at the 40. Okay, so they must be returned if it hits the landing zone. And this could incentivize teams to kick the ball just short of the end zone, forcing a return, creating more room for exciting play. But kickers might still get the ball deep to put it at the 30, even though it gives the receiving team a better start. Fans on former. So isn't that dangerous, though? After the Hall of Fame game, Chicago, Kansas City, so far against exciting. So far, the preseason did see more returns, according to the NFL. But the average returner reached the 28-yard line, only 2 yards short of the 30 touchback, and teams may continue to change their mind on how to approach the new format. So, I don't know. I may need to get deeper into the rules when I'm not doing the simulation. When I start getting to that final phase of tweaks and such, because I don't know that it's practical for me to keep trying to change to make this stuff care so much about where you're at. Ultimately, we just want to know where they're at in the field. Maybe during my individual play executions, I will go as far as to figure out where they are specifically on the field. This is what happens. Just where are they? What happened? You know, if we have a play execution that occurs, because what's going to happen on the play execution, the next component, is there's going to be step-by-step tests. And certain things happen at certain points in the game. So instead of calculating, like, we just say, where are they on the field? How many yards did they move? And what's happening at that point? Are we in the end zone? Are we not? So maybe we just do a bunch of validations. You want to make it seem, you don't want to have too much going on because it does slow down processing. But at the same time, we need that stuff all to occur. So trying to find the most efficient way to do that. And this is kind of taking the shortcut. It's like, do everything that happens in the play. Where are we on the field? Test. And so we can't do a fair catch. There's not going to be a fair catch for kickoffs. Generally, you just don't touch the ball. And wherever the ball ends up will depend on what you want. Unless you're on the field and you have to return it. So saying it's a fair catch on my special teams is wrong, because you can't actually have a fair catch on a kickoff. So we have to go and put it back here. So on our punt, we have our whether or not we got a fair catch or not. I'm not moving that anywhere. Returns. So now we just need to go, okay, punt, returner takes the ball after a blank punt of so many yards, and returns it so many more yards. And then we have calls for a fair catch. So that's fine. But our problem was that we ended up with a negative position on the field, which totally So if I say -3 yards, that's a weird scenario, but it apparently can happen, even though, you know, we allowed for it. So, you know, I'm going to fix this, and we'll probably never see it again. It's that rare. Because, I mean, think about it. It's a -4 to 100 value. You know, up to -4 to 100. I mean, it's a -3 or -4 up to, up to 100 value. So in order to do that, you have to hit the -4 value, -3 or -4, and that's what it hit, -3. That should be near impossible. So what's wherever we had yards to go minus punt distance. Punt distance. Punt distance. Do I have a calculation for punt distance? Kick, play call. Where's my punt distance? Punt distance is calculated right here. Okay, so see, I allow it to go 10 yards into the end zone. So theoretically, I guess they could take it. If they didn't fair catch it, attempt to come out of the end zone. My fair catch calculator gives a 1 in 2 chance of calling a fair catch. That's probably not likely, huh? I mean, that's probably not true in some cases. So what I should do is change my randomizations. Let's just say if I got to figure out and geez, that's probably, let's do this. Let's just say const return decision yards equals yards equals 100 minus yards to go minus punt distance. And so if yards to go is 50, they kick it 60. So that'll be -10. That'll be 110 yards. Okay, so what we want to do is have something like we'll just do something simple like return decision yards is greater than 100, because greater than 100 or less than or greater than 100 or return decision yards is less than 80. Then we'll say they have a high chance of calling for the fair catch. So we'll say 2. That's a high chance of getting a 50-50 that they will call a fair catch from there, right? So 2. Else, it's a less chance of a fair catch. Like, we'll say 1 in 4 chance that they call a fair catch. Oops. In the event that there's, you know, they're in that weird zone that they don't want to be stuck in, so they'll try. They probably won't call a fair catch in that weird zone, that low 20s range, less than 20 range. That's just the way I'm going to go with it. It's like a 25% chance of a fair catch if they have less than 100 to go. How about less equal to or greater than 100? And then, or it's less than 80. How about less than or equal to 80? Nah, let's see. If there's less than 80, maybe they'll go for it. If it's on the 20, they can get in a couple extra yards. Okay, so they have, it's less than 80 or greater than or equal to 100. So that'll just kind of tweak the fair catch calling frequencies for certain types of distances. Then once we're actually running it, we got to check to see if our return yards, if we end up in the end zone, we've got to calculate that and break things. That's the problem. So if we got new yards to go is less than or equal to 0, we have fumble option, and we have greater than return yards. So new yards to go is going to be blank. 100 minus yards. It's yards minus punt distance is the new value. But I'm saying punt distance. You know what? I'm gonna do this. I don't like the way I wrote that. That's not a very logical. So yards minus punt distance is our new yards to go, right? Because they kicked it. This is basically still offensive. And then we're gonna subtract whether or not wherever we are on the field, minus fair catch, minus return yardage, or 0. So if it's fair catch, it's 0. Punt return yardage, whatever we got. So we're going to subtract that from the position on the field. So we got minus punt distance. Oddly enough, that's actually wrong. I'm doing bad math. Because it's 100 minus is the new value. This is the part at which we switch over and it's now the other team's ball, and then we're going to subtract. That is our new distance to go, and then we're going to say we're going to subtract from that any punt yardage we get plus 0. So this is actually or 0. This is actually the new value. All right, so we just got that minus that. So that's our new yards to go. That'll be a little cleaner. So we're going to flip over the position of the ball, and then we're going to subtract from that what we return on the ball, return on the yardage. So that should be a little cleaner. Again, should make sure that we have, but our new yards to go, here's the deal. If we do stuff and we did not fair catch, and this value is over 100, we have got a safety. That's what's happening. So new yards to go. We lost a fumble? No. We are greater than or we are less than or equal to 0, which means we got a touchdown. But we also have the bad decision option. If new yards to go is greater than 99, we're going to do squiggly. We're going to put in our commentator mark. Now, just go returner. Return man catches the ball at the I had a calculator in my head how to do this. It's going to be, the new yards to go might be 80, but that's 20, right? But if it's 40, then it's 60. If you're on the other side of the field, a 40 means you have 40 to go is 40. So if it's over 50, that's what it is. If it's over 50, we do one thing. Otherwise, it's fine. Takes the ball at the, so I got to figure out the yard line here. So we got to do plus, we're going to say new yards to go is greater than 50, then it's new yard, or it's 100, it's right, 100 minus new yards. Come on. Sheesh. By the time it gives me IntelliSense triggers in, it's not there. And then else, it's just new yards to go. We're gonna go ahead and give it. Oh, I always do this. God, it's not what that is, man. It's a colon. And then we're doing this. Plus yard line. And I have really got to change. I wish I had prettier on. Prettier would synchronize all my stuff. But you can't do that here. I don't think you can use prettier here. Yard line. And scrambles. It's almost like I gotta say, is new yards to go greater than 100? Because it could be, gosh darn it. Oh wait, no, greater than 99. Greater than 99, we are in the end zone. But man, there's so many complicated ways to do this. Gosh darn gargly margly. Because if they're in the positive, it's greater than 99. That means it's not quite covering it all. Because I know that they can only get -4. That's the thing. New yards to go is greater than 99. Return. Let's just simplify this. Let's just simplify this. We're gonna say return man catches the ball and tries and scrambles, trying to get away from opposing players and ends up in the end zone, and gets tackled in the end zone. Safety. There you go. Return man catches the ball and scrambles, trying to get away from opposing players, but gets tackled in the end zone. Safety. There we go. There we go. That way I don't have to worry about the yards, because that was driving me bonkers. Trying to figure out how to calculate all the yard stuff. I mean, I probably could have come up with the wording setup, but I was not seeing it. My brain was not assembling the right way to write that. So now we've got it. We've got a safety situation here. If the new yards to go ends up being greater than 99. Yep. Now we can deal with it. Punt return takes the ball. Punt distance yards. We got fair catch. If it's not greater than 99, then we ended up on the field. We're good to go. Okay, so hopefully that problem will be resolved by our new setup here. Now, let's try and run this. Let's see what we've got. What new problems and flaws I've introduced. Hopefully nothing. But we're going to find out shortly, I suppose. We're going to close this. Let's go to my git bash, and hopefully we can get some kind of result. Oh, one of the reasons I refactored my logic for how time is calculated was because there were situations where I was getting negative values that I couldn't quite compile because of the way minutes and seconds were all being handled separately. I just thought, screw it, let's just deal everything with seconds, and when we're ready to put it out, we can reformat it back to minutes and seconds. And that's what I'm attempting. So we're going to find out what happens here. So when you get stuck in a loop on this, where everything is zeros, when we're not getting a valid time, that's when, oh, did I have any problems? No. Okay. I certainly don't want loops. I mean, I don't want to get stuck in a loop. So I've got to, I'm either going to have to put some kind of a catch in there that says, hey, if we run this more than 20 times, we need to bag out. An error has occurred. Because we can't have more than, there's only so many drives you can have. I mean, if the most plays in a game is 130 and you figure, you figure, what, 5 plays on the average, you're probably doing maybe 6 plays per drive. That's what, 6 goes into 35, 5 times 4 is 20, so it's about 20 drives in a game in the worst case scenario. Maybe 21, 22, you could even say 25 just for the sake of catching the problem, but you have to have a stop. If we have more than 25 drives, something has gone wonkers. Throw up an error if our drive count has gone insane on us, and that's probably what I should do. Some sort of a trap to prevent us from hitting. And it's probably good for the sake have a few extras in there anyway. Even if it's 30, you just don't want to have an endless number of drives because you're going to end up dealing with problems because you can't have more than that. And even if logically things are mostly correct for 30 plus drives, you're like, something's wrong. The number's wrong. Okay, so let's see. That's our first call to there. Now we're going to run here. Now we're going to blow up, but we do have some stuff going on. Or at least we're in a new place. Punt distance? Is that what? Not declared? So I must have it functionally, what do you call it? Punt distance. Where are we? 86. 86 is right here. So what's wrong with punt distance? Oh, it's lowercase p. All right. While we're at it, let's go ahead. I don't think it's... Is it going to run? Maybe. All right, let's see what happens. All right, so we're getting some drives. Getting a lot of drives. But we're getting a lock. We're getting a break. Stop. All right, that's enough. So we're still getting problems. I do want to put my catch on here. I don't want a million. Let's put a break on here. So we're going to have drive count. Assuming drive count is being, yeah. So It's try catch in React, right? What's the try, sir? So we're going to say try, and then we're going to go here. We're going to go down all the way to here, I think. And then we're going to go close that puppy. We're going to go catch. And then that's enough. What is to try catch? Is it try catch? How come it's complaining about my... Oh. Catch are finally expected. Oh. Oh. Whoops. I put this in the wrong section of the loop. All right. One of the things I want, we're going to say if drive count, actually in a quarter, since we're dealing with these by the quarter, and if we say we're going to allow, let's say 28 drives, I think that's insane, but we'll say 7, and just to be nice, we'll say 10. It's going to allow for 40 drives, but we're going to raise an error if anything goes wonky at 10. So that'll give us our full set of drives. And if drive count is greater than, because no single quarter should ever be more than 10. And therefore, hitting 40 is going to be impossible, right? Because that means if everything hits at 9, I suppose, we could have 27, and then 10 would be 37 is most we'd end up with, because the next one would error. So it's a minor difference, but still a lot of drives. Greater than 10. You know what? I still think that's too much. Let's say I'm going to go with 8, because even 8 is 36 drives, even though technically it's 8 times 3 is 24, it's 32 drives. Still way too many drives. I mean, I still don't think we're ever going to get that high. We're going to say 8. And we're going to say raise error. I don't know what the is it error? I don't know. All right, what is React's raise error message? How to raise error in React.js. Class error boundary. Constructor props. There's a new concept called error boundary to handle errors occur inside React components without breaking the whole app. Error boundaries are React components that catch JavaScript errors anywhere in their child component. Developer way. Let's see what they say. So we do have catch. It's E. My wife is sending me texts. JavaScript tools are pretty straightforward. This also will work with async function. I just want to raise the error. Or if we're going to do old school promises, we have catch methods specifically for them. So we write the specific fetch example of promise-based API. It will look like this. How to and caveats. Set has error true. Oh no, the fetch failed. We have no data to render. We're trying to send a fetch request. If we wrap useEffect with try catch, it just won't work. Happening because useEffect is called asynchronously after render. In order for errors inside useEffect to be caught, try catch should be placed inside as well. Okay, good to know. This applies to any hook that uses useEffect or anything else. Still don't have a raise error. I'm just seeing you can try catch in children example. This is happening because child, we're not actually rendering this component. What we're doing is creating a component element. If you're curious, learn more. Simple. Oh my gosh. My wife's sending me job applications. I mean, I applied for like 5 jobs this morning already. For example, we'll just cause an infinite loop of re-renders if an error happens. So basically, they're doing this thing where they're setting a state, but I don't. Error boundary component, but React doesn't give us a component per se, it just gives us a tool to implement it. I guess there is no raise error method in let's go opening. Let's go get my programming window open. We'll go talk to my buddy, CGPT. Let's actually go with a new thing here. All right. What is the React or Next.js equivalent in a function for raise error? Throw. That's all I wanted, man. Throw. I could just say throw new error. That's it. Throw new error. Too many drives being rendered. Or too many drives being processed. They haven't been rendered yet. And then we can go down to my thingamabobber here and we'll say console.log e.message. E.message, right? Dot message, I guess. Isn't it D.E.message? What the heck, man? Oh, it's error. Yeah, it's E.message. I mean, I could say error, but console.error, error message. Oh, guess I could do it that way too. But I think ultimately it's the same. E.message. Now, I probably have other possible errors that could happen here, but well, for now, we're just going to trigger that one intentionally. And this is actually supposed to be squiggly or curly, however people want to state it. But yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and stop this guy. We still ran into an issue though, and obviously it happened during my output We got too many zeros again. Who tripped up? Who fell on their face? And I got a lot of extra too. Here we go. Things went wonky right here. I don't know if that's right. How are we going up in time? Because look, my drive time went from, oh no, because we are adding 36 seconds, 43 seconds. Okay. Still seems like an awful long drive. 40 that's a really long drive. Should not be getting that big. So that's an issue. We also have an issue with total plays in drive 4. And then we have 1920. Adding 32. Adding 3.8. How did we get in such big numbers though? Because look at this. We got new drive. 4. Huh. Let's see what this is problematic. Okay, so return man catches a ball and scrambles but gets tackled in the end zone. So that one happened again. So that's happening too much. Happening way too much. Would be probably helpful. Punt, playtime, punt return, punt distance, 67 yards. Wow, I'm really allowing for some big punts. 67. Guys don't punt 67 yards very often. What the heck? How far is my punt distance? What is my allowed distance? Oh. Yes, that shouldn't happen. That's too big. Punt distance. I bet you I'm just going up to the yards to go, which is too far. Most of you guys can't kick that far. Kick, 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 kick. Play punt distance. Yards to go plus 10. That's actually not right. Let's actually go. It should be the minimum math.min of 60 or yards to go plus 10. This will allow me to kick up to 60 yards. Even if I was willing to give him 65, I still don't want him kicking like crazy numbers like 67. And if yards to go is like 70 or 75 or 80, then they're going to get 90, and then we got really big options in there. And by capping it out a little bit, it'll just make sure we can't go above like a 65-yard punt. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure some guys have broke bigger numbers, but we're going to say 65. I don't want stupid numbers. And yes, I will allow for bigger yards in my final stat setups, but for these purposes, I'm not going to have that. So it did calculate safety though. That's a thing. So it kicked 67 yards. He tried to get away, couldn't. And then we go remaining yards, 101. Kickoff. False. But we did end the drive. Total play in drive 4. End of drive summary, 103.5. Next drive yards, 101. See, things are kind of out of whack at that point. Next drive yards to go should be 0 because safety should result in some kind of points. And I don't think I adjusted for that. Because when we get touchdown, I'm pretty sure I'm adjusting for that. Now safety is going to be weird. It's going to throw everything out of whack, but let's just deal with one thing at a time. So we got kickoff distance, play execution, play info, new yards to go, play info, points scored. Oh, okay. So yards to go is less than or equal to 0. Play call is extra point, and it's not extra point. Or it's extra point, and the kick is good. Or we have another or option here. Because right now I'm just saying the other team scores 6. Interestingly enough, you could score 2 now. Oh, God. Because it's a special teams, and you would score a safety if the other team did something dumb. I'm causing myself consternation. There's too many permutations. It's crazy all the stuff that can happen in a football game. This is why football's awesome. Because anything's possible. Some things are highly unlikely, but anything's possible. So, so what I should do here is instead of saying -6, -6 is if the other team gets the ball, runs it back. But if they do something dumb, you could actually get 2. So if new yards to go, we're going to have to do another thing here. This. We're going to go new yards to go is greater than 99. Then they scored 2. Else it's -6. And in that scenario, it's or new yards to go is greater than 99. I did this again too. Okay, so now we have the chance of 2 points in the event that we actually have a new yards to go that's greater than 99. There is the problem with my logic is I didn't actually allow for the punter to for it to log the distance of the punt. So even though I want a generic call, I still want to say how far it was. Return man catches the ball. After a punt distance after a blank yard punt, return man catches the ball and scrambles, trying to get away from opposing players, but gets tackled in the end zone. Safety. Okay. Now we've got that. Now we've got the potential for some points. Team trot on the field. The team trots. Is onto a word? Is it like that? Onto the field. Team is supposed to be me being able to fill it in later. The Broncos, the Seahawks, the whomever. And that's why I have it bracketed like that. But I haven't actually implemented that switch. Okay, so we now have the option if yours goes greater than 99. We have less than or equal to 99. We have play calls extra point. We have, it could be a punt, but that could also be a kick. I mean, theoretically, kickoffs could do the same thing. So anything that would result in new yards to go being greater than 99. And oddly enough, I didn't actually implement that. I say oddly enough, surprisingly enough, big surprise, I didn't implement a safety option for kickoff either. So yes, it's possible. No, I have not implemented it yet. So I probably should just put something right here like to do add possible safety results if new yards to go exceeds 99. Okay, so it's 12:30. It's time for me to wrap it up for a bit. I'm closer. I think I've got things being caught up. I got to go run around, do some things around the house. I got to go clean up branches out back because they broke down because trees dropped them all over our yard. So hopefully I'll be back this afternoon. Till then.